Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to be talking about how we as Black people view ourselves. So, yet another story from work. I swear, I'm telling you, I told you before, most of our stories, most of our topics, some of them come from our work stories. I was helping a guy, he's a Black man, and he asked me for some the toiletries, right? So the lotions and stuff. I said, he said, oh, excuse me. He said, can I have some lotions and stuff? And I said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And so I said, like, how many do you need? This is literally how the conversation went. How many do you need? Oh, probably like two of them. Two's fine. I said, okay, no problem. So I went to go get it. I handed him the stuff, right? I said, okay, there you go. You have a great day, sir, right? And then he was like, thanks. And then he started to walk away. He stopped himself, came back. Like, he stopped and he came back and he goes, are you from here? I said, I am from Indianapolis, Indiana. He's okay. What side of town are you from? I was like, why are you asking me these questions? Like, what's I said, is something wrong? I said, I've lived in a couple sides of town, some part east side when we were younger, and then this side of town, and then he said, oh, because you don't sound like, you sound, and then this is how he's talking, he's stuttering. You sound, well, I think he's caught himself in the middle of it. Maybe this don't sound right, but then it came out. He said, you sound white. This is something that I have dealt with literally all my life, like all of my life. People have said this, when we lived in Texas, we lived in Texas for a while. We lived in middle school in Texas, right?
No, we went to middle school.
Yeah, for a little bit, right? We went to middle school in Texas, and even then, it's just all my life I've been dealing with this, right? When it's school age, been dealing with this, right? So it really is at the time, like when you're younger, it's a problem. When you're older, it's like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter, right? So then I said, what? I said, well, okay. So when people ask me this, I always take that opportunity to not let them leave and then question the whole thing. I said, well, okay. I said, well, I'm not white. I said, well, I'm not white. I said, but okay. I said, but what? I said, can I ask you a question? He said, yeah. And I said, what is white talk? How do white people talk? What is it about white people? So you're bringing this up. You said that. He's like, well, I think that I don't know. Like, he was doing this. So I'm assuming he meant slang. I said, so this was that? Like, you mean like slang? I don't do like, talking like that. And he was like, well, yeah, kind of. He said, but what specifically is it that makes me sound white? What's white talk? You're asking the question.
Right.
And then he was like, okay, all right. He was game. He's okay, I'm game. Like, I can tell you've been to some fancy school, college. I said, okay, college. And he goes, and like, I don't know. Just like you proper. You talk proper. I said, okay, so my grammar is, you're talking about my grammar, right? He was like, yeah, like that. Like, you just proper talk, just like, it's just intelligence and stuff. Like, but it's not bad. He's here trying to reassure me, but it's not bad. And he also said I was bubbly and happy. Like, because a lot of Black people are not bubbly and happy. When I handed him his stuff, he said, oh my God, you're so happy. Like, I guess that's a white thing, right? So I said, so let's review. So white talk is happy. It's intelligent. It's educated, and it's proper grammar. And he's like, well, that's how white people talk, like that. So, okay, no, stay there. I'm not disagreeing. I said, how do Black people talk? What's Black to you then? It would have to be the opposite, wouldn't it? In your head, the opposite would be, well, no, that you don't. That's not, you trying to twist my words around? Oh, no, she trying to twist my words around. It's doing like that. I said, I'm not twisting your words around. I'm asking you a question. You asked me a question. I answered it. I was like, and it's not that I'm twisting your words around. Is that you said something that was, you put Black people in a box of unhappy, uneducated, and not proper speaking.
Right.
You literally just did that. And what's happening now is I'm repeating back to you what you just said to me. And that look good, does it? I said, it doesn't look good. So this is why we're having this conversation now. I said, I'm not getting on you about it. I'm just saying, I said, listen, I told him, listen, you're a good sport because you didn't have to even answer any of these questions. And I'm like, well, my mother taught me to speak well. Like, whenever we messed up on grammar when we're talking to her, she would correct our grammar. You know what I mean? You know, it's just, it doesn't, I appreciate that about her. I was like, so I don't take offense to it. I said, what's bothering me right now is that you feel that Black people, like in your eyes, that we're somehow this uneducated, poorly spoken, you know, not well spoken, unhappy people. And then, you know, so he was like, no, he goes, well, I don't really mean it that way. I said, but see, with the way that you view your own people is a problem. Because you just said to me, like he said, he goes, I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that. Like, you don't talk like I talk like that. I said, that's okay. But it doesn't mean you're not intelligent. I don't think you're intelligent. I mean, you know, but I said, but you don't, saying that is you're putting Black people back here. Like you're making us look like we're not, like we're anything. We're incapable of putting a sentence together to form a paragraph to then, you know, come out to you guys and speak in a proper way. Like, you know, or speak intelligently or with grammar. It doesn't mean that anybody's better than anybody. It's just that when you say that Black people sound white, what you're saying is that white is right. Only. You know what I mean? And then somehow Black people are something else. We're not smart. We're not intelligent. I said, where did you grow up from? I was asking where we grew up from, where he was from, you know, what side of town. And he lives now and pretty much all his life on where we grew up. Like, you know, on part of town where we grew up. Right. I said, I lived around that area. So I said, oh well I grew up around that area. We're more alike than we are not. You know what I mean? I said, so he's all snap? And I was like, yeah. I said, I grew around up there too. I said, it's just that your upbringing is what changes maybe the way your diction, the way you talk and stuff. I said, but it doesn't mean just because I sound to you, what you're calling sound white, that means that Black sounds ignorant. I said, I don't like Black people talking like that. I don't like Black people saying that about other Black people, that you sound white. I don't know if anybody deals with that, but it's really very frustrating because it's like you're not, like, I'm not mad at you for saying it, but I have to school you on some stuff.
Right.
Black people aren't dumb. We know how to speak. You know what I mean? You have to view, how we view ourselves as Black people is crazy.
I think I think like with the way our country was established, we don't really realize how much racism and how deep it really goes and how we actually think. Yeah. And so we think of white people, even if we're angry with them, we think of white people as high standards.
We do.
The best that there is. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's because they've coached us from the beginning of us coming over here to believe, with even having a white Jesus. And
we
don't realize sometimes when we walk around calling each other nigga all the time, when we walk around saying things like, you act white. And then when you say, what is acting white? They say things like intelligent. They don't realize how brainwashed they sound. So what you're saying is that Black people are ignorant, people who don't know how to speak, don't know how to live, you know, without being a ghetto. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this is the reason why a lot of times white people talk to us and they go, you know, they talk down, like, what's up, man? Yeah. They start doing like that because they think that same way, but we do too sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like like I told you before, I've had men who I've dated that were darker skinned men back in my younger years who would say things like, if Kara was in the slave times, she would be in the house, as though slavery was good in any time. Like any of us could survive that time. Yeah, we're all doing well during slavery. I mean, how we think sometimes is mediocre. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because the house niggas are so happy, right? Yeah, right. You know what I mean? And so it's like that. And then like the baby doll test where the little girl picked. The man said, what is the most prettiest doll? And they had 4 different shades of dolls, and she picked the whitest doll. Yeah. Who was the prettiest? The whitest doll. Who's who's the worst doll? The darkest doll. Yeah. Not even the middle 2 colors. Yeah, who's the darkest? Who's the ugliest? The darkest doll. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so sometimes have y'all seen that study? I'll try to find that and put that below. Sometimes we don't really realize how we view ourselves. Like you were saying in one of our videos with George Floyd, is that we're always trying to get white acceptance. Always. Sometimes we don't realize how much power we give up. We talked about it with politics. Right. How much we, prop up the Democratic Party when the Democratic Party really hasn't done anything. But we will go hard for Joe Biden after Joe Biden was for the crime bill. We don't really do our research. We really don't realize sometimes what we're saying. Like, I feel like as how we view ourselves is just so skewed. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, again, I've heard this like all of my life, and I feel like
you know, like I've had somebody tell me before, a black guy tell me before, I bet you only dated white men. Back, you know, I've, you know, said I was only dated white men before, like you never dated a black man. I said, I've only dated black men. That's all I've ever dated is black men. You know, and then it's like, it's this way of black people, the way we look at ourselves. It's like this very, low standard, not inspiring. Like we're not, I don't like that. I hate that talk. I hate that kind of talk because it's like, you're making it seem like they're better. And then you wonder why they're entitled. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it seem like they're better.
Right.
Because they're already, it's all white privilege is already a thing. They ain't going nowhere. White privilege is already a thing, right? It's but don't help the situation by saying that black people that speak well are somehow white. Like, listen to what you're saying. I told this guy, so listen to how you're saying. Look what you said. And at the end of this whole conversation, he was really, like, he's a really good sport about it, but he did say, no, I got you. I see what you're saying. You know, like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it makes a lot of sense. I said, what you're saying basically is that I don't speak slang. That's what when people say this, what they're meaning is that I don't go around, hey nigga, you know, look, if I came on this show right now and started all of a sudden talking like that, y'all be like, unsubscribe. What happened to Danielle? Like, why is she talking like that? Y'all wouldn't even, there's no way y'all would even buy it. No one in my real life would buy that. They'd be like, why is Danielle talking like that?
It's also an insult. Like, a lot of people use it as an insult. When someone says you're acting like a white girl when you're clearly black. Yeah. When black people tell other black people they're acting white, it's supposed to hurt your feelings. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I dated, a long time ago, an ex-boyfriend of mine, he called me a house nigga. That was to hurt me. Yeah. In front of all the dark-skinned black people that were there. And I was like, why are you dating me?
Yeah. What was the point?
And somehow I bother you. Yeah. But, you know what I mean? Somehow I bother you, but you still want to date me. Yeah. But at the same time, you want me to feel some sort of way about not being darker. Yeah. You understand? Even the idea that we make light skin better and dark skin, we do it to ourselves all the time. It was a white situation. Yeah. It was a white conspiracy, like to make black people not like themselves and to put light-skinned people on a certain pedestal so that dark-skinned people could feel worse, and then we just do it. Now they don't even have to throw it on us no more with paper bag tests or anything. Now we walk around, you know, saying things like, you know, you would been in the house if this was slave times. Well, you know things like, you sound white, you like a white girl.
There were no happy slaves, you guys.
Right. There was not only that, just to say you talk like a white girl. You know what I mean? It's like why would you say it to another black person? To hurt them. Right. I mean, because you don't like yourself. So it's just like, to me, it's just like for him to turn around and say that to you, he didn't have a reason to say that.
Well, this is not something new for me, as I've gotten this a lot in my life. So, you know, age 43 is whatever. I'm not losing any sleep over it, but I feel like we as black people got to stop saying that white is somehow better.
In the universal laws, what you say to yourself is every day. So if you are, like, just say you're overweight. Yeah. So if you say to yourself, I'm slim every day, even if you're not, you eventually, it'll be, because what you do when you talk to yourself is something that we can't avoid. Yeah. You can't avoid talking to yourself like you can't avoid eating. Yeah. It's just impossible. We talk to ourselves all day long. We think all day long. There's not a moment in time where we don't actually think. So when you say to yourself, if you're overweight and you say to yourself, I'm slim, and you keep saying that to yourself, eventually your mind will believe it. Yeah, and then it'll go into your subconscious, and then you'll begin to act like a woman who is slimmer, and that means you'll start to eat like a person slimmer. You'll start to exercise. You'll start to do things.
You'll sync up.
Right. Yeah, so the same thing here. If you think that intellect is part of being smarter, like being smart and being talking with without a slang, and that's called white. Then I mean the opposite of that would have to be black. So he called himself ignorant. Yeah, he did. He called himself uneducated. He didn't think so when he said it, but it's because it's been in his mind for so long that black people talk a certain way and come from the hood, and we we're victims all the time, and we're just that. People always think like it can be a part of you. Yeah. You understand? Like, so it's just like, I don't think that. Now, I think that I've got class. I think that I'm smart. I also think that class, though, is not about, class is an action. It's not where you're from. Yeah. So you could be really hood and really ghetto, have class.
Yeah.
And you can be really, really, smart and educated and have a lot of money and be ghetto as hell.
Yeah, right.
And by that, I mean ignorant.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really when I lived in New York, I worked on the Upper East Side with a bunch of rich white ladies that were just ghetto and nasty and rude and unintelligent, and all of them went to college. All of them had millions of dollars, but they didn't know how to treat people at all.
Right, and we lived in East Harlem. Right, we lived in East Harlem in New York, and there was a lot of nice, classy Black and Hispanic people in our neighborhood. You know, we've always seen. The funny thing is that when I was telling this guy, I said, it's funny when I hear that because it's really annoying to me. I was like, because I big up the Black community all the time. Like I try to support Black people as much as I can. I'm in it, y'all. I mean, y'all seen a lot of our videos. Like we don't deny we love our race. So it's like when you hear another Black person, particularly a Black man, somehow think. And usually these comments come from Black men. I've had a Black man tell me once before I dated him, he said, we hadn't met yet, right? So it was like over the phone thing first. And he said, we were chatting online and then we progressed to the phone. And so when we got to the phone, my voice didn't match up. I guess the way I look, he wasn't expecting me to talk the way I talk. I don't know. So then he said, He goes, I didn't expect you to sound like you sound. And I said, well, how do I sound? And I knew it was coming. Look, I already knew it was coming. And then he said, you sound like a happy white person. I was like, what are you saying? I said, how do white people sound? In same situation, white people sound educated. White people, I'm like, I ain't been to college. I said, I haven't been to college. I told this guy too. I was like, I haven't. I said, just to let you know, I haven't been to any fancy Harvard or Yale, like you said. I've went to high school, graduated from there, and went to the workforce. That's what I did. You know what I mean? Like, so probably basically what he did, what he said. I said, you probably went. Would you go to college? He's like, no. I said, well, then we're the same in some way. I said, my diction is better. I said, but that doesn't mean it's white. It's this thing with Black people where we just don't look at ourselves as better than, just not better than anybody else, not better within ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we don't see ourselves as these happy, like vibrant. And I know a lot of the reason is because of people from different parts of the world, right? We get people who are raised in oppressed, poverty-stricken areas. I get that. I understand that not everybody's gonna be happy. There's a poem that I love out there. It's a spoken word. It's called "Dreams Are Illegal in the Ghetto." I'll link that. I know that video's on YouTube somewhere, but I'll link it down below. But yeah, it's called "Dreams Are Illegal in the Ghetto." And these two Black poets talk about this, and they speak. Man, it's a really good way to understand the way Black people think. Well, right?
It's interesting because I think, like I was saying about universal laws, this is the reason why I was well, both of us, we were raised without our father. Yeah. Okay. Now, even though I know there are a lot of Black men that I don't like to talk about it in that way. Yeah. Because I think that it perpetuates a certain stereotype of Black men, and I don't want white people to hear it coming from Black women people. All the time. Right. You know what I mean? Because the truth there are some Black women that aren't good mothers. You know what I mean? But they don't get the same press as Black men. So I don't like to sit around because there are a lot of great Black fathers. And a lot of times they get overshadowed
all the time
by men who don't take care of their kids.
Literally all the time.
So this is the reason why I don't talk down to Black men. But it's interesting because so I always talk up Black men all the time because I think that if being brainwashed for so many years of making putting white people on the top of the pedestal of being intelligent. Not only that, just in beauty, straight hair, light skin. European way. Then if that can be perpetuated by always being told, then the reverse can also be perpetuated. So if we can sit here and say Black men aren't, if they can keep saying Black men don't take care of their families, then we can also say Black men do. And if that becomes a catch, well, then even Black men who maybe don't take care of the kids may want to be a part of that group. So you reverse it. You don't keep dwelling on it. You reverse it and get the mind moving a different way because the mind can't go forward unless you push it forward and you keep pushing out that narrative.
Don't you feel like we have to I feel like not a little bit, a lot. I think we have to unlearn and relearn. Right? I think we need to unlearn oppressive way of thinking. Fight for your rights always, right? That's what we're doing now, right? But we have to unlearn what we were taught, what was inbuilt and embedded in us, and as you know, slaves to Jim Crow. You know what I mean? And you know, we have to unlearn that and then relearn that we are. And I don't want to use this word frivolously, but we are kings and queens,
right?
And I mean that in the sense of we are royalty within our culture, right? And I think that what happens is that Black people don't view themselves. They, you know, a lot of people, and I don't want to disrespect anybody who puts this all the time in posts, because most people do. When people go, you know, oh, you know, queen, fix your crown, queen. You know, I mean, this is the thing. People say, oh, this is my Black king. A lot of times people that are saying this are not behaving like what they're putting out, and I feel like we don't always think that we are that. Yeah. And we don't. It's something to say, but it's not something to do. And I just feel like when we have to put ourselves on a higher pedestal for ourselves, and not just not because we're trying to show off to white people or whatever, but really just to show ourselves that we are better. If you feel like you are a queen or a king, then you need to behave like that, whatever that is to you. But I don't think that staying in an oppressed way of thinking, you know what I mean, that's to me, I feel like that you're just setting yourself back, but we're so embedded in us to,
because we've actually had
that.
I think we actually had a Black woman comment once that she doesn't date Black men, she dates white men, and on some level I think it made her feel like class, because she's attached to this white guy. And the truth is like being a king and a queen, being rich or poor, to me is all a state of mind. It's the way we think about ourselves. So when you're not, you're not Queen Elizabeth. You're right. But it's a state of mind. Even Queen Elizabeth, her mentality. Yeah. If you just look at her mentality without her crown, she believes herself to be that, because it's been ingrained in her to feel like she's superior to nobody, but she's superior to everyone but except for God. Right. You know what I mean? And so
when you feel that way,
this is the reason why I say God is within us, that we are God. That we are God. You are God represented as you. I'm God represented as me. You guys are God represented as you. Right. And so that to me is where your king and queendom comes from. Right. Because nothing's higher than God. Right. So if God is a part of you and not something outside of you, then that means that you can live on that throne. Yeah. As being something more. You know what I mean? And so just like when people say broke is a state of mind. When you are poor, that is a state of mind. There's a mindset that goes with being poor. Right. Like if you go to the hood all over the world, and all over the world, not just America, all over the world, there is a feeling. And if you look at everybody, they all look the same. It's not physically, but they all look the same in their face. They look sad, and there's a lot, and there's a lot to sad. Look what you're looking at. You don't have the stores aren't there. They don't have good schools, and that's a part of the country's way of keeping you in your place, keeping you poor mentally. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing if you go to a really wealthy neighborhood. Everybody looks different. Everybody looks happy. Yeah. Everybody's driving around in their nice cars because it's a mind frame to keep their kids in a level of feeling superior. Yeah. You know what I mean? And everybody can do it. It's funny that people don't think that, but everybody, no matter where you live, can feel that way. And so, but it's all in how you say it. If you walk around if you were Black walking around saying that someone acts white, and your definition of acting white is everything good, then what you're basically saying is that most Black people are everything bad. Which is what my point was with this man. I was like, he said, "Oh no, you were just really nice to me," like that. I said, so I was like, but if you don't listen to yourself in life, self-awareness, we said this before, saves lives. If you need to be self-aware, I was like, listen to what you just said. Yeah. It's contradictory. You said that I'm nice to you and I'm happy. And I helped you with whatever you were needing. And then as a customer service person, I provided you with good customer service with a smile on my face. You said that's not Black. Yeah. It's contradictory, though, to say that somebody acts white and then everything that's attached to acting white is good. Yeah. But then you turn around and call yourself a king. Yeah. No. It's not the same. That's not the thing. Because if you're a king, then you don't feel like you need a low person. Right. A person that no one cares about. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. What you're saying are white people are kings and queens.
Right.
And you're everything, but you just didn't think so because the mind has a way. I mean, you know, it also, it's just even the world, like we look at like the Kardashians, you know what I mean? Those girls all wear cornrows and they all got butt implants and it's all great and they all talk in slang and they all try to be
cultural
appropriation. A lot of white people do this. They try to talk in slang, try to get really close to black culture, and it's fine then.
Yeah.
So it seems right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then but it's also, on the other hand, it also has hurt us.
Yeah.
Because then we get stereotyped for it.
Yeah.
White people don't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where that type of attitude can be cool and it can also hurt you.
Right. Cultural appropriation is, man, that's, it can, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. Now, I don't have a problem with people who talk. I don't talk that way because it's just not like that's just not how I talk, and I'm not gonna feel bad about that.
Well, this is why I said this.
And I also don't feel any blacker, or any. I'm sorry, I don't feel any less black because I don't talk that way.
Right.
You know, and I think that we as Black people need to see ourselves sometimes as different. Like you don't have to all be the same to be considered a certain look. You know what I mean? I remember when we used to watch the Cosby Show. No one ever called them white, really.
No one ever called
because
them
it was
white.
You know why? Because we were proud to see wealthy black people, you know, not talking like that.
And speaking well.
And with doctors and lawyers and in privileged area of Brooklyn, that we were happy to see that. You understand? It's like then it's okay. Yeah. But if you go into your real life and you see someone who's doing that, then all of a sudden they're kind of selloutish.
When I say that, I mean that I'm the biggest advocate for Black people in the way that we view ourselves and the way that we behave. Like, I hold our feet to the fire on that. Like, I don't push back on that. You know, how we view ourselves, because it's important that we look at ourselves at a higher standard. And so when someone says that, you know, you sound white, I'm like, I'm not going to let you, you're not getting away with that. Come back. I said, back up. I was like, if you don't mind me asking, if you don't mind, most people that I do that, actually pretty all people that I do that with, they always stay to do the fight, the argument or the debate, right? And I'm like, Black people are educated, all right? Black people know how to put a sentence together. Black people put ing on this. There are Black people out here that do this, sir, who put ing on the end of their sentences. Right? There are Black people who can formulate an entire paragraph and put that out to the world. I was like, and that's Black people who are also very happy. There's Black people like that. Now there's Black people who aren't. And I've got a feeling you might be one of them. There's Black people who just don't know how to be happy. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with whatever their background is, you know, but I think that we can't be stuck on our story. We can't always be stuck on our story of oppression and feed off of that, what's called the victimization of that, right? I feel like we have to rise above that, and whatever your story is, no matter how dramatic or traumatic it is, because we know a lot of Black people who their stories are bad, man. They're bad stories, but they've rose above it and are able to be in society and move forward, you know what I mean? And not feel like, you know, they're not being, like they're being themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
the story's supposed to help you, though.
It is.
It's not supposed to keep you complacent
where
you are. You know what I mean? It's just like I said before, I think that part of having like self-love in yourself, because, you know, even most white people want thick lips, darker skin, and somehow Black people don't feel good about themselves. They always want to be white, and white people don't even want to be white. Yeah. They always want to be us. They want curly hair. They want big booties.
Look at some of these white folks.
They all look like, they're all trying to look like lighter skin versions of us. That's what they're all trying to look like.
Because if you
look at the entire Kardashian girls, they all look like they're just trying to look either Hispanic or as Black as they can. Yeah. They all have lip injections, fake booties. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, there was a guy where the Black man I can't remember who it was, and he was just like, everybody wants to be Black except for us.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so it's just like, I think it's part of our self-love is understanding us. Yeah. Beyond, you know, with exclusion of, you know, white society helping us to discover who we are. You know what I mean? And I just believe that it comes with being smarter, and I don't mean by college. I mean, even like we were talking about, even we were talking about politics on our last video. It's like, don't think you won anything because Joe Biden won. Joe Biden has had a lot of racist moments in his life, and it's just like, and for us to have self-esteem, though, we have to understand that we can't just be like, we won and then stop fighting, because let's keep it real. When we have a Republican office, we're stronger. Look at us now. Look at how many people are on the streets. Yeah. Every day protesting. Yeah. How much, I can't tell you, I go on Facebook every day now, just to, see people, and everything is Black love. Everything. We're talking about slavery. We're talking about the civil rights movement. We're talking about kings and queens. Yeah. We're talking about the beauty of who we are. Yeah. And that only happened because we have we have Trump as president. Yeah. And we can't let that go away if somebody else wins. Mm-hmm. Because then that's how we all start getting laxed, and we start getting into forgetting how important we are. Well, and how special we kind of are. We don't think of ourselves that way any other time. And so it shouldn't take, like I said, it shouldn't take someone to get shot on the street for us to realize how important we are and how much we really love ourselves, and to get smart. But it does help us get smart at the same time. Yeah. We start investigating more and start doing more. And little things like what you're going through, what you said. You know what I mean? It's just like, he only said that because he probably felt like that's a thing to say. Well, then he's not the only black man has ever said, or black person has ever said anything like that. He's just saying that because he either thought that was going to either be a slam for you. Yeah. I mean, it's not a compliment to be told that you're white when you're not. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I said to him. I was like, because some people I've said in my life, some people who have said that are mean it maliciously. Mm-hmm. I know they're trying to they just trying to be rude and be mean, right? I didn't get that sense from this guy, but I did tell him. I said, no matter what, it's always going to be insulting. Yeah, to someone. This was all this. Please, going forward, it's like calling someone gay. If they're not gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay. You dress gay. But if you're not gay, you don't want to be. You know what I mean? You don't want to be. You don't like people telling you who you are, and they've not known you for less than 5 minutes. Right. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Because what you've done is that you've. Now, I'm not gonna let it go. I know some people are like, oh, it's just whatever. I don't like to let it go, because especially when black men do that, because I'm like, you need to be questioned now. I'm sorry, but you need to be questioned. You do. You question me, and so now I'm gonna question you. And I feel like it's to the point now where if we don't look at ourselves in a better light, then this is what's always going to happen. But you can't treat your own people. You can't put down your own people. You know what I mean? And then go out there with a picket sign and want things to change. Right. That's not how it works. It starts with us, within our community. Everything starts with us. This is why you just told me about a post where one of I think it's one of our gay friends, and he said that he doesn't like to be called girl. Oh yeah. And so but this is the same thing. People assume because you are gay that you want to hear things like, you go girl. Yeah. And you're not a girl. And all gay men are not the same. Yeah. All gay men are not flamboyant, and not all you know what I'm saying? They're just like there's lots of different black people, there's lots of different gay people, lots of different white people, lots of different Latino people, lots of Asian people. You know what I mean? And so when you categorize somebody through a stereotype, you hurt them. It's like, well, why'd you do that? What was your intention? Which is why I asked this guy. I said, what was your intention on saying that? Right. What was your intention? All I did was hand you some toiletries. Right. So that was my job. I mean, if it isn't my job, so what was your intention on calling that out about me? He said, wasn't any intention behind it. So you just speak with no intention. This is a problem. What I got from that, because you gave him the stuff, and then you said he walked away, but then turned around and said this to you. Yeah. So to me, I always, when anyone does something like that, that means that there's some insecurity in him. Oh no, 100%. that he felt he needed to turn around and tell you that. And he was. Why did you need to say that? Yeah. What is going on with you? Yeah. Did you see something in me you wish you could be? Well, first of all, this man he has insecurities. I mean, it is written all over him. He had insecurities and stuff. Some people want to be like you. They put you down. They put you down in the area they wish they could be. Right. You know what I'm saying? They if you're thin. Yeah. And the person is overweight, they'll put you down for being thin, but it's just because they want to be. And they pretended to to be tongue in cheek about it, just being silly. No, you weren't. You were serious. Right. You were serious. So basically, it's like he could be looking at you in his heart, in his mind, you act white, but what he's really thinking is people take you seriously. They don't take me seriously. I wish I could be like that. But you know what I mean? He won't say that. He'd rather just turn around and tell another black woman that they're acting white instead of just saying, you're intelligent, like you have a very nice presence.
Well, you know,
he could have just said that, but he didn't say.
I said, if I went up to you and I just, because guy, okay, so I just depicted the way just that he looked, because it's what he did to me. So I said, so if I just walked up to you and it just said, yeah, ghetto. Mm-hmm. You know, with your pants down low, off your butt, you got those dreads, you dark.
Yeah.
You acting ghetto. You're not putting ing in the end of certain words. Yeah, and ghetto. I said, how would you feel if I come up and just said that?
I knew you for all 3 minutes.
Yeah, all 3 minutes. How would you feel if I just literally just read you just by simply the way you look? He said, well, okay, point taken. You know, he said, point taken. I was just, you know, I didn't think it would be a big thing. This whole thing's going to be a big thing. I said, it's always a big thing. Always going to be a big thing when you are putting down your own. This is always going to be a big thing. So understand that no matter what happens, you may not run into another me who's going to call that out. I said, but I choose in life right now to call out behavior that literally is putting down our own people, especially in the climate we are in today, and then go out there and act like you're for your people. You can't be for your people if you're over here talking about making fun of, belittling, you know, degrading or whatever your own people. It doesn't work like that. Right. I was like, you would be upset if I walked to you and just completely, what are you, marijuana smoker? You have dreads.
And also these people raise children. Yeah. So you raise little kids to take the doll test and think that white people are better. Yeah. So this is how little kids think that white is right. Yeah. Because they have parents who call black people white when they're doing something right. Yeah. What they feel is right. So what I mean? So you're like, who's prettier? Well, this white doll. Yeah. Who's smarter? The white doll. Yeah. Because black people who think like that think that black is not smart. White is smart. Yeah.
I told him, I said, you know, in the 60s, 70s, there was a saying that was, you know, white is right, brown stick around, black stay back. I was like, so that was a thing that people you're doing that right now. You're making it seem like white people are better than black people just by just that one sentence that you said. I was like, so I just encourage you, really, honestly, to just review the way you speak to people. What if I just treated you differently because of the way you look? Because don't you get treated differently the way you look just because your skin color? So how would you feel as me as a black woman who added to that? How would you feel about that?
Change with yourself. Yeah, it comes from the inside out, not the outside in. So there's nothing white people can ever give us, not even a march, can make us feel better about who you are. Right, who you are. You could feel you don't need that to feel better. It comes from within you, and then it goes out. Right. So white people aren't going to be able to give us anything. They could tell us we're intelligent and beautiful, and if you don't really believe it, it won't matter what they say. Yeah. It comes from us, and it comes from the inside out. So you have to be aware of yourself and aware of how you walk. And this is for white people too. Yeah. You have to be aware of yourself when you walk. It's like, you know, when we were talking on, you know, the next episode that we're talking about I see no color. I see no color. You got to be aware of yourself. Yeah. What sounded like something that might have been easy to kind of blanket and get out of the conversation. Yeah. Always, it's just like all lives matter, sort of thing. It's just like, no. Be aware of yourself, because what you're saying, what you're doing is you're trying to appear smart and appear like you know what you're talking about. But most people are mostly hurting inside. It's true. Most people, even white people, are mostly hurting inside and afraid. And so instead of being self-aware, they project. We just gotta be somewhere. We just, you know, as black people, you're so right. Self-awareness is such an important thing. I don't think I understand how important I feel that it is. Like, because it's gonna make you, review yourself. You know, put yourself up to your own feet to the fire and go, what am I doing that's not quite right. You know, I mean, this guy was probably thinking like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. That's the whole conversation. All I did was say that she asked white. And that's not all you did. Yeah. You had intention. The intention behind that was to belittle because something that you're not, there's some part of your life that's making you feel belittled. So you did. There's something in your life making you feel belittled. And so you thought that by belittling somebody, you know, who in his eyes talks like the very person is probably oppressing him. You know what I mean? Right. In his eyes. I'm trying to tell you that black people speak well. We speak well. Black people are intelligent people. And you know, it doesn't mean that if you don't speak well, that you should be treated terribly. But within our community, if you don't look at yourself as higher standard,
and you think white is the standard, and then you're upset.
I mean, nobody can make you feel like a nigga unless you accept that.
Yeah.
Unless you accept that feeling.
Yeah.
If you accept the feeling, if someone calls you that, and you get really, really mad, but you could get really mad, there's no white person in the world can make me feel like a nigga.
Right. No,
because I don't think of myself that way.
Yeah.
So there really is no. It's just like the guy saying you sound white. Like, you're not gonna make me feel bad about that.
No.
If you think that's making me feel some sort of way, it doesn't, because you can't make me feel You can't make me feel anyway.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of my feelings,
right? And
how I feel about myself.
Yeah. There's a lot of ignorant things that come out of people's mouths all the time, and I just think that's important when you're in the face of ignorance. See, this is my whole spiel on this, is that when you're in the face of ignorance, it's important for you to call it out.
Yeah.
It is. It's important for you to at least call it out or defend yourself in it.
This
is a situation where I felt like I had to call this person out, and I feel like you should be able to just walk away from that and not get a little flack, from someone who is literally supporting him, that people look like him. Tell us what you guys think about that. Is that annoying to you? Has this happened to y'all? Is there any black women or men out there that someone says that about you? Or is it just, maybe it's just me? No. But let me know what you think about that, or have you seen that before?
And even if you've said it.
Yeah, if you've actually said it. Yeah. I mean, it's a good conversation to have.
Do you ever think about that when you say something like that? If you're a person that said this to someone, you ever thought about the fact that you're really just putting down yourself? You
are. So I want to know, and no judgment. I kind of actually just want to know, like, if that's something. Because we slip up and say things all the time. People slip up, and you're a person, but it's an awareness that people have to be aware of.
Self-awareness will help you in life. You know what I mean? To feel better about yourself. We don't realize sometimes how brainwashed we really are in this country when it comes to our race. You know what I mean? And how we see the world. How we see ourselves.
So.
It's one thing to say how we think everybody else sees us,
but how do we look at ourselves?
Really, like, sometimes, how do you see yourself? And don't blanket yourself. I'm a king or queen. Before you say that, do you act like that?
I can't be concerned about how white people are looking at us.
I
can't be concerned about that right now. I'm always going to be concerned about us first. So how black people look at ourselves. You know what I mean? Thanks for the march. Thanks for the movement, all that. But white people have their role in this movement, by the way. It's an important role. The role is to teach your white people how not to be that way. That's your role. You know what I mean? So thank you, the white allies. That's what's up. You know what I mean? It's what you're supposed to do. But it's not, it's our role in our own movement to make sure that we as black people are doing and behaving and treating each other and ourselves the right way. Yeah. So that's really it.
Common sense is not always so common.
It's not. It really isn't.
I mean, it's not. Sometimes people just don't have any real common sense. They have been to college, they have all the intellect in the world as far as school. Right. But sometimes just common sense is just,
Yeah. So leave a comment below. If you have any topic ideas, you can go to or leave a comment below with that, or you can go to our email, which I'll put here. And drop us an email with some topic ideas. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel to help us grow. And that's it. Thank you guys. We'll see you later on this week. Bye.